Hey YouTube, Jay Kilroy here. Back at you after the gunplay incident, the Kilroy Corral. We're going to do a little more work on the blocks today. Got our updated drawings here. Links will be down below. And got some viewer appreciation mail, and we're going to get into that in a second. But first off, I want to say, in a response to all of the wonderful responses to my email, to my video, hey, you shot my truck. Just a lot of responses there on YouTube, and a lot of private messages and emails with a lot of just really solid suggestions, as well as just support and concern, and I really appreciate that. You know, it's been a stressful time for the family. The good news is my daughter seems to be doing fine. Lost about 4 pounds in about a week. That's pretty tough for a 8-year-old, right? So, but she seems to be doing a lot better. Seems to be recovering nicely, bouncing back nicely, which is what little kids do. Thank you very much. Just to be clear, there was a lot of, I think, misunderstanding. The building where I live and the building where this shop is are 2 different buildings. I live about 3 blocks from here in a building that's not quite this old. This building was built in 1880. That building was built in 1907. And it's a 4-plex. And my family, we live in one of the units, and then we rent out the other units. So what I want to do, this building here, my deluxe shop here, has about 2,500 square feet upstairs that's unused. And what I'd like to do is remodel that space upstairs for the use of my family. Got a few things to do. Maybe we'll do some videos on that, on some of the issues. My building is commercially zoned, so I have to meet commercial code, which is additional expense. And I've got to add a porch on the back. I've got to have 2 exits from the upstairs in order to meet fire code. So, and I'm not in any way trying to get any kind of political argument about codes or having them or not. This is not Texas, so we have them. Anyway, let's get into the viewer appreciation mail while we're at it. First, I got a package from Mr. Jack Hoying of Fort Laramie, Ohio, and he sent me a very nice note with concerns about my family's recent events, and a very caring personal note, and I really appreciate it. Stuff like that really lets you know that this group of people that we have on YouTube, it's a family. These are people that care about each other. And thank you very much, Mr. Hoying. And Mr. Hoying sent me a fabulous gift, and it's a bunch of surgical instruments. So just some great stuff here. We got some little curved forceps here, some straight, very nice. Little pair of scissors, handy, and then another pair of curved and straight forceps. These are great. And I gotta tell you something, Mr. Hoying, these are greatly appreciated. I used to have a line on this. My dad's a retired surgeon. I used to get all these things that I wanted, and he's retired, so no more. So these are very much appreciated, and I do a lot of electronics work, small detailed work, and these will be very, very handy. Thank you very much, and you have a nice day. And also, I got a great surprise from Mr. Randy Richard. And after watching the 2 videos where he recently created a dovetail cutter, the dovetail cutter arrived in my box with a very nice note from Randy. You know, I'm honored. I am honored and very pleased. And he does, I can tell you right now, he does excellent work. If you couldn't tell that by the video, you can certainly tell it by holding an example of his work. He has very nice crisp edges and very nice surface finishes. And then he even sent along the sample piece with the, get zoomed in there. Oh yeah, look at that. And he wrote on here the RPMs and the depth of cuts, so you can use this as a reference. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to get my stamping set. I'm going to stamp these numbers in here so that they don't, because they're going to wear off over time. But you want to talk about a nice finish. And this is, I believe this is, well, it's a nice piece of metal. I don't know if it's a cold rolled or what type of metal it is, but it's a very nice cut, very nice finish, and very much appreciated, Randy. Thank you very much. I do greatly enjoy your channel, and so keep it up. And if you have been watching Randy's videos, I sent him a little care package and sent him a box of taps for his use of the 5/16 by 24 taps, of which I have a zillion. And he said that his son was going to undoubtedly steal a couple. So, hey Randy, I'm gonna send you a couple more boxes of these bad boys so that you can give some to your son so he can put those to good use. You know, keep up the good work. I really enjoyed your series on the lance lathe repairs, the gear work. I'm still needing to find time to do some work on my pacemaker, which is time's been a rare commodity these days. And thank you, Randy. This is Randy Richard. If you haven't checked out his channel, you need to check out his channel. Great work, great projects, very nicely done videos. And for those wondering, using the new Hero 4 here, this is the 1080 medium setting and a medium field of view that we're using here right now. As is typical, GoPro's already come out with a software patch for these things, 102. And after I upgraded the software, I had a heck of a time getting the camera to repair with my phone so I could run the app. A couple other things I learned is if you have it in Wi-Fi mode and you turn the camera off, it doesn't turn off the Wi-Fi interface. You have to do that separately. And if you leave that on over the weekend, the battery on your camera will be dead as a hammer and you'll have to recharge it again. So remember that. You have to turn Wi-Fi mode off separately. And other than that, I think it's a pretty nice camera. I think it's a solid improvement for the videos. So we're going to get to work now on the blocks. So let me change the camera orientation and let us proceed and finish this project up. All right, so here's the drawing. Turn it around so you guys can see it, of the jaw. And here you go. Here's the jaw. We've made our nice cut. Somebody had requested that I get in close so you can see the difference in the surface finish between the horizontal mill cut slot and the shaper cut. So as you would expect, it's going to look different because of the difference in the way the tools work. So let's get it in here close and tight. So you see the shaper cut slot has a lot of lines, has these lines in it, but honestly, you can't feel them, right? It's just flat, smooth metal. This is just because I was manually feeding down. You don't get a real consistent feed when you're manually doing the feed into the work. But it is a nice finish, a nice smooth finish. And then if you look at the horizontal mill section, you can see, you got a very, very nice finish there. And you can see the individual cuts, right, from where the mill was proceeding along. There you go. So in both cases, I think we got real good surface finish. I mean, that looks really, really nice. So, I'm happy with that. What we're going to do now is we're going to put the holes in the end here for the stop. This is not what I'm using for the stop, but you get the idea. The Tom Lipton style stop that's going to go here. We're going to have to drill and tap a 3/8 by 16 hole here for that. And then on the other end, we're going to do the same hole. And then on the front, we're going to have two 3/8 by 16 tapped holes next to the securing bolts that mount this to the vise. And these are for what I refer to as the face stops, of which the use of which has not been divulged yet, but will be shortly. So let's go ahead and get over to the mill. We got two of these. I'm going to do the end stops on both. The face stops are only going to be on one. And then on this, you remember we added this slot here across the top. I'm going to add some clamp holes here for some hold down hardware. Let me get some of that and show you some of that. So I've got a ton of sets of different types of hold down hardware. And this is the smallest set that I have, and it uses a 5/16 coarse thread 5/16 hole for the stud. So since I have a whole set of these step blocks and clamps, I'm going to drill and tap for over here so that I can use that 5/16 set to help with work hold, to be able to work hold a piece in the top of this small groove. So those holes will go over here. I was thinking I might actually put some right here because I can use a small clamp there, but I can't really set a step block on that. So I think I'll stick with my original plan over here. So anyway, let's get over to the mill, get this edge, pick our zero up, get this edge, find it in here, and then let's start putting these holes in. All right, before we get started here, I'm getting the mill set up, getting the vise back in position. I'd been using my indexer here, and some people often wonder, how do you handle getting these types of things on and off the mill on a regular basis? And what I have here is a little cheap little manual floor jack. It's like a little hand controlled forklift, and it's good for about 300 to 400 pounds. And this piece right here is just it's a old beat up back panel out of an electrical enclosure that I had done a while back. And anyway, that's what I do. I pull it up, I get it lined up with the table here, and then I just slide the device over, and there we go. Put it down somewhere where I can get under it with the little forks that are down there, and good to go. And that allows me to move this kind of heavy stuff around without injuring myself, and do it safely while I'm alone in the shop. All right, here we are in the mill. We've got the jaw chucked up here. I have taken the ox tool advice from Tom Lipton, who I understand was shamed into doing this from someone else, and I have this back corner of my fixed jaw right here set as 0, 0 on my absolute. So get the vise. Once the vise is positioned, bolt down the table, you go ahead and 0 that up, and then you can do whatever you want, and you can always get back to that being 0. So all I did was take a bar here, run it across the 2 vise jaws, and give it a little tap. Tighten it down so that you've got a nice mount right there. So this corner is mounted in relation to that 0, 0 location. So our hole location is 0.590 out and then 1 1/4 down. So I'm going to change back over to incremental. I'm going to 0 my X. I'm going to 0 my Y. And then I'm going to go ahead and make my move here. .590, and then 1 1/4 inches. 4, 5. All right, go ahead and snug up an axis or two just to make sure that I don't bump everything. We are drilling and tapping this for 3/8 by 16. 5/16 is the tap size for that, and it's in super picky location, so we're just going to blow right into the 5/16 drill bit. And we got a 5/16 drill bit mounted in a 5/16 R8 collet. Alrighty. So there we go. We got our first hole drilled, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to excuse me, sorry for that phone interruption. So since I'm going to be doing multiple 2 holes on each end, a hole on each end, and in 2 different jaws, I'm going to go ahead and just take this one out. Put this one in. And go ahead and drill this one. Alrighty, when we flip this one over, it's not going to line up any longer, right? So we have to adjust for, I really need to build me one of those little stops for this set of jaws. It's not going to line up with the same location, so we have to offset. So that's easy to do. So what we do is we spaced in 0.590, and what we do is we just subtract 2 from, which is our total width of part here, 2 inches from 0.590. That equals 1.41. Undo our lock on the. So there we are. We're in the same relative position. Now we can drill the other 2 pieces. Alright, so those are all of our holes are drilled for the end blocks, for the end stops. So now we're going to drop in here and we're going to drill the holes in one side for the face stops. And same thing here, we're just going to pick up our end using our absolute 0, and our spacing here is up let me adjust 0.94, which is in line with the factory bolt holes. 0.94, and we are 0.3125 in from the end, so right in the middle here. Somebody posted something the other day about fitness in the shop, staying fit. They obviously have a mill with a lighter knee than I do. So here we are, that puts us right on for this location. So let's keep at it. Alright, so all of our holes are drilled for our end stops on both ends and for our face stops in one block. I'm just going to hand tap these, and I am not going to bore you with that. Alright, we're back to the shaper. And I got to make, got all those holes in the blocks, the V blocks, hand tapped. I got to make the straps for the 2 stops. I got a piece of 1/2 inch bar here that I'm going to clean up the edges. And you're probably asking yourself, why are we at the shaper? You sure like the shaper. Well, I feel pretty confident in saying that I think there's a real good chance that I'll be the first person on earth to film a metal shaper with a GoPro 4. I mean, I realize that's kind of specific, but still, this is a first. Later after this, I think I'm going to be the first person to film a metal shaper in 4K video. I can't view it, but I can say it was the first, right? So this is kind of fun. I always look for an excuse to use the shaper. So we're just going to trim this rolled edge off here and give myself a good edge to work off of. And the shaper is real good at that. Got it? Not quite. Let's take one more cut. All right, we got our piece over in the bandsaw, and you can see my little offset bandsaw vise jaw is paying off because we're able to get in there, hold that part, cut along the long edge, and we're not going to interfere down here. So this is why we made it, and it works just fine. Okay, our saw cut edge is not quite perfectly straight, so we're going to go ahead and skim this off real quick, and then we're going to clean up the sides. We're running a 2-inch 6 flute high-speed steel end mill at around 215 RPMs here. Alright, we ought to be nice and close to parallel there, so let's switch this around. Whoop. Back over at the Herco, we're going to trim the ends and trim both ends, and then we're going to drill the clearance hole and do a little hand work with the file, and then we'll be finished. As far as this goes, dimension wise, I'm just shooting for about, I mean, I've got on my drawing a 2 1/4, but you know, they can be, let's say 2 1/4 is a minimum, right? So I'm gonna finish these up a little long. I can always trim them off later if I need to for some specific need. And this is a 1/2 inch 4 flute solid carbide end mill, and we're gonna trim these up. Okay, so I went ahead and set a stop. I went ahead and mounted the piece flush to this end of the jaw, and then set my little stop here to give myself consistent part location. And I got my calculations here. I measured the width of the part and just came back half. And we're drilling the hole 0.409 in and 0.2625 down from this end. And it's a passage hole for a 3/8/16, which is a 25/64 for a close fit. A little of the A-bomb approved go-go juice there. Alrighty, so here we are. Our 2 jaws with the stops installed here. These nice knurled thumb screws are ridiculously cheaply priced from McMaster-Carr, and So, I mean, you know, $3 or $4 for that nice steel, hardened steel thumb screw. So there's our blocks ready to go. Gonna go ahead and call my buddy with the bulldozer and tell him to bring the pins on over so I can knock the rest of that stuff out. And these are gonna really help me do the job. Got another job coming up where I'm gonna use the face stops that and I will demonstrate the use of those at that time. So it's a way to use these for some alternative work holding techniques, both in and out of the milling vise. So thank you very much for following along with this little project. Again, Monster Jaws, the basis of these, the actual blanks that I used. And they don't list this size anymore, and these are from quite a while ago when they were first getting going. So I don't know if they do the 6x4x2s anymore, but obviously the techniques demonstrated are applicable to pretty much any size. Another thing I wanted to show, this is for Randy Richard, his benefit. He was showing that test bar that he made for his lathe, and I'm going to show you my kind of slightly unorthodox test bar that I've used and I've loaned to friends and they've used. And what this is a piece of B7 1-inch threaded rod that is been cut and has centers, nice accurate centers that I turned. I single pointed those centers. I didn't drill those centers. So these are nice accurate centers. And then what I do is I've got 2 pair of nuts on the threaded rod, and they just hold a washer, right? So that's that. So you can, that's a single 1-inch flat, regular old flat washer. You mount this thing up in the vise. You put a couple wrenches on and really clench down on that washer, and there you go. You've got a test bar that you can cut and that you can measure. You got plenty of width on that face, about 3/16 of an inch to get an indicator on. So these work fine without getting too fancy, and they never wear out. So as soon as these start to get worn, you just take it apart, stick 2 new in there, and go on about your business. So this works great. It's a nice length here. Washer to washer is 13 and 5/8 center to center. So this gives you a nice little test. You could move these around if you wanted an exact foot to figure out your taper per foot. Just move these around a little bit, and you can make this test bar as long as you want. So it's a handy little piece, and it's reusable for quite some time. I've had this for a long time. I made this when I first got that Revette for testing on it, and I use this for doing things like tailstock alignments and other projects like that. So this is real handy to have. All right, so there we go. That project's finished. Kind of getting used to the GoPro. Be honest, battery life. If you leave the battery in this thing overnight with it off, if the camera's off and the Wi-Fi is off, but you leave the battery in the camera overnight, it will be dead as a hammer tomorrow. So that, to me, honestly, that's a problem. And unfortunately, right now, you can't buy spare batteries for the Hero 4. You can buy the battery backpack. You can't buy the battery. And I did get a software upgrade. There was a software beta. I honestly don't know if that problem existed prior to the software beta or not. So I'll be looking for another patch or any news about that problem. There are a lot of people that have Hero 3s that mention something similar. So, it's either leave it plugged in or take the battery out. you know, that's about it. We're gonna get on with finish up a couple other videos that I've got in the works. Try to get those out to you soon. I have been swamped with work, and so just not a lot of time to spend in the shop on anything that I think you enjoy watching. So we're going to get back on the power feed project soon, finish that up, and a couple others got coming up for you. So anyway, everybody stay safe in the shop, and I'll talk to you soon.